Have you ever wondered why things don't work out how you want them to work out? Have you ever wondered why it's easier to have negative thoughts and depressing thoughts than it is to have like more positive and even accurate thoughts? Have you ever wondered why it seems like your life is not going in the direction that you want it to go? There are two ways to move through life. One is useful and productive. The other is frightening and depressing. Let me explain more. Okay, so there are two ways to move through life. Let me demonstrate. Okay, so I hope you've figured out that the two ways to go through life are facing forward, going forward, or facing backwards, going forward. Now, the reason I know it sounds a bit like odd and whatnot, right? But I had a client some years ago, and she came to me because she was absolutely terrified of driving. She says, I used to be able to drive fine, but I can't drive now. And we talked a little bit, and I said, well, okay, like what's happened? Turns out she was sitting in her car at a red light, and she was stationary, and a car came behind her completely unexpected and rammed into the back of her and pushed her into the oncoming traffic. She was fine, she wasn't hurt or anything, but she was terribly shocked. And from that point onwards, she's been terrified of driving. So we talked for a little bit more, and I said, well, okay, so you're really frightened about being hit from behind when you're driving? She said, yeah, definitely. I said, okay. So, like, how much time do you spend looking in your rear view mirror? She says, oh, 90% of the time. I said, okay, so you're driving forwards and you're spending 90% of your time looking backwards. Do you think that might explain why you don't feel very safe on the road, given that you're driving forwards in a 1-ton vehicle, but you're spending 90% of your time looking backwards? She thought about it. She said, oh, yeah, I get it now. She says, I'm not driving safely, am I? No, you're not. Your responsibility is to look forward, but you're not driving looking forward, you're driving looking backwards. That's why you don't feel safe. Well, that was basically all we needed to do. That realization changed her attitude. See, because she's not responsible for what's behind her, but she's taking responsibility, or she's kidding herself into thinking that she takes responsibility for what's behind her. It's like, if I'm looking, if I'm checking, I won't be shocked and I won't be surprised. Yeah, but you have no control over the people behind you. In principle, now, at this present time in your life, you have no control over what's happened. Things that have happened have happened. What you do have control over, and what she had control over, is looking forward, is looking where you're going and directing your life, directing your car, directing your life in the place that you want to go, to where you want it to be. So the reason I'm talking about this is that depression, to a very large degree, is like moving through your life forwards but looking backwards. You're not looking where you're going, you're looking where you've been, and you're judging yourself like, yeah, I didn't do it very well, I'm a failure, it didn't work out, I made mistakes, I made errors, I'm just not doing very well in my life. If you do that, how do you think you're going to feel? Okay, how would you feel? Imagine this. You're driving forward in your car, you're spending 90% of your time looking backwards. How do you think you would feel? You wouldn't feel any different from that woman, that client of mine. You would feel extremely unsafe, very unsure about what's going to happen next, and really, actually I'd say, terrified. There are 4 characteristics of people who are depressed, and really they're a consequence of looking back, and looking back and judging yourself negatively. The first one is that you look back and you underestimate your strengths. There's a really strong tendency to say there's something about me that's weak. The second one is that you look back and you underestimate the resources you have in your life, the friends you have, the family you have, just the things that enable you to achieve things. You underestimate your resources. The third one is you look back and you overestimate your faults. Yeah, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do the other. You know, you feel like a failure. That's really common. And the fourth one is you look back and you magnify your failings. That failed, that didn't go as well as it should have done. That did not work out how I wanted it to work out. These four characteristics are basically like walking forwards, but looking backwards. And that's just not going to work. That's just not a recipe that enables you to be able to function appropriately in life. So, here's my advice. To have a happy and productive life, you have to be looking where you're going, and that means you have to be managing your life. No one else is going to manage it for you, you have to manage it. Now, with depression, there's a real strong tendency to say, well, you know, let's see what happens, it will be what it will be. No, it will not be what it will be. It will be what you practice. And if you're practicing, looking back, underestimating your strengths and resources, and overestimating your faults and failings, you will feel like a failure. You will feel down, you will feel depressed, you will feel like life's too much for you and you can't cope, and it just feels awful, okay? Look where you're going in your life and manage the journey, manage the experience, because no one else is going to manage it for you. What has happened is done. It's finished now. But you are responsible for looking where you're going. No one else is, you are. And if you want to feel like safe and secure and you want to feel like you're on top of things, okay, then look where you're going in life, because that is your sole responsibility. No one else's, it's yours. And you can blame other people, but you know what? You're driving your life. So therefore, you better look where you're going, because otherwise you might have a crash. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like it wherever you find it. Please say hi. Please leave a comment. Please, you know, just interact. And I'll be happy to reply if you leave any comments. Thanks for taking the time to watch and listen.